Yeah, the SF, there's not a lot of nuance there. It's kind of a brute force strat, but if it works, who cares what it looks like? And just imagine a situation, right? You just use the Venge, you maybe swap the SF out of your Chrono, and all of a sudden he can choose, do I want to right click? Do I want to throw raises? Do I maybe want to channel out the ult just right in the Void's face? You've got a lot of damage and a lot of options, and now it's on DogChamp, as you said, to try and right the ship here. Get some sort of selection to maybe not swing things back their way. It might be a little bit too late for that, but at least stabilize in this draft.
Well, and if they want to, they could go for the AA again. Of course,
It's
they've
true.
got the idea to pick it versus the DP. It's a little bit of a scary lane. I think even scarier than what he had to play against before with the Beastmaster, but I honestly think it's not too bad of a choice. They do need to pick his hero right here, though. I don't see any case where they last overall pick on Bloody Nine's here. It just doesn't make all too much sense. But okay, they pick Tiny, and that is
Hmm.
a little bit strange. I feel like now I suppose that's going to what feels like an offlane Snapfire of 4 Tiny, and then guess they are just last picking B9's hero? I don't know. This is a little bit different here. Of course, B9 has every right to also take up the Snapfire and then just kind of run it as a throwaway lane there, but then what is the value that this Tiny brings so much that DogChamp decided to pick it here? I'm very curious to see what they're setting up for their last pick.
Yeah, we are curious. Felt maybe less curious and more wary at this point as they immediately shift to those offlane bans. They take the Timber away, which, I mean, there's no situation really where you sit and say that was a bad Timber Saw ban, right? If you ban it out, it's probably a good idea, but I don't know, what else would they be concerned with at this point? There is still maybe, actually no, there is not. I was going to say there's a Viper, but DogChamp quite literally just took it away. So what else would they want to pair up with a Tiny to really try and punish the safe lane on Felt?
Yeah, and even the Viper ban kind of poses a few questions here because, of course, if it's a Viper that they would have picked, then that would make it either a safe lane DP or SF, which, of course, I think Felt have in the past run the safe lane Death Prophet. That was kind of a pocket thing that I think this team was running just because they had a little bit of flexibility that they could throw around between Solji and Paradise. But I don't know. It is very odd, very peculiar coming into this last phase here where the bands should tell you something, but they really seemingly aren't. As well as in Felt's last two bands here, they say you need an offlaner. It's going to be a 5 Snapfire and a 4 Tiny, we guess. But I don't know. Something just feels wrong still. And I can't put my finger on it. And yeah, the Lycan ban. I like it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it would have made a lot of sense, but guess they hear me. I don't know. I gotta talk quieter.
Casting room is bugged. Might get into that, but in the meantime, yeah, Felt with a choice to make here. DogChamp seemed to think that there was a curveball coming in this draft, and I don't know. I mean, if it was going to be one of those choices, I'm not sure who makes the shift to that position one role. I guess just wait and find out. Or Felt, yeah, could just take a
Mm,
carry here, and whatever hunch DogChamp thought that they had, maybe it was a little off the.
yeah, and I think the CK, it's the one hero that Timber Sub band kind of points to the most for very good reasons. And of course, you now have a Blink Initiator in your carry, which is going to be very important. I also think they did not want to run the Wraith King again. I think that hero, although it is kind of good versus Faceless Void, it still just doesn't feel like the best hero, where I think CK's definitely had higher highs than Wraith King ever has. We've only seen one other Wraith King in the tournament as well, and we haven't seen a ton of CKs, but that's also where we have just taken out a lot of, I think, the answers to Faceless Void. So carry-wise, anything would have really been a risk here. And it's not like I think you wanted to pick, like, maybe a PL or a TB into the Void. It's just not good business. At least with the CK, you clip him with that Chaos Bolt, something good can happen. You've got something to play around, but that's where we'll have to see. And I really want to see what Italiana Gangster plays. And okay, they just straight up counter pick him.
Okay. So it is looking like the Tiny at the fours. Yarn locks that in. Will it be the 5 snap? It appears so. So that is the answer. 5 snap is a little unusual compared to what we are used to seeing, ET, but
His brain is
it's
so
not
big.
really outrageous. It still works.
His brain is so big.
Yeah, it works. It's fine. I also do like what the Tiny and the Invoker can do together. If RCY can kind of put his nose down, stay all right in the lane, doesn't get too bodied by the Shadow Fiend, all it takes is a smoke and boots of speed, and then Yaren will toss you back onto the high ground, and then you're pretty dead SF, unless the Warden is just tailing that Tiny on really every movement he makes. But at the same time, yeah, I feel like DogChamp really did do something kind of strange here. It would have been a little bit odd if they did end up last picking their 5. Chris said it just doesn't make sense realistically, and they do at the end of the day get a pretty nice counter pick on that carry, but that's where last pick drafts are a little bit strange whenever you do end up picking your off lane all the way at the end. And Pitward, as much as you can kind of like him versus CK, I think in regards to the rest of the lineup, it's kind of just a whatever hero. There's a reason why we don't see a lot of Pitward. It is a very reactive choice. He'll give a decent amount and pretty good damage inside that Chronosphere, but yet again, a lot of that big team fight control is just going to be up to Stonebank, and then whether or not he's going to become that outlet for the rest of the lineup to do damage, we'll have to see. Even though Stonebank, he's been kind of playing out of his mind this tournament.
Yeah, he has been pretty damn impressive, although it hasn't always resulted in wins. But, Dota's a team game, right? It's not always down to one guy, as we are going to get ourselves going in this game, second match of this best of 2. And as a reminder, felt, well, very much hoping that it is finally their time for revenge. As we mentioned previously, they were knocked out by this DogChamp squad in the TI qualifiers. They have lost 5 straight series in this head-to-head. Obviously, their chance of winning has now passed them by, as these are just best of 2s, but a 1-1 split here would be something that they have not accomplished, DT, in 2 years.
Yeah, and of course, for a team that's so consistently played in the same region, it feels like it's time. It's time to do something. Time to get some revenge. But here we go. Felt they're gunning for it. They want to kill. Prep the ward on RCY already for the D ward. If anybody gets into this nook, then they'll know. And look,
God, that is aggression on a level I did not think we would see. Good play from B9 though with the cookie. Does mean he's sitting on cookie level 1, but the alternative was losing RCY. But the Warden, I mean, Jesus, he rebounds onto a tier 1 tower before the horn. They wanted that kill.
And I want to say that they got, like, maybe a glimpse of vision with this ward. It's really tight, but a part of me also wants to imagine that Warden just did that completely blind. He just wanted to look and find someone just sitting under there. But despite the theatrics at the rune, it looks like this is just going to be a pretty normal 2-2 split, even though B9's going to have to work for it.
This is awkward.
B9,
he's only got the cookie.
Actually just die. One more raise. He's going to try to save it, maybe mana-wise, and yeah, they just give it over to the SF. Well, Soldier's got a great start.
Hey. Love the voice line. Solji, first blood in his hands, so a little ironic, right? They dive a tier 1 tower trying to get the kill, they don't get it, and then the actual first blood just kind of unknowingly walks right into their hands. So you don't question it, right? You got your first kill, it's for Solji. You're just going to try and roll that lane as best as you can.
Yeah, you just move into it, and he already is at the laning advantage, so we'll actually have to see how RCY deals with that aggression, but there's going to be a good few many raises now coming out from him.
Aaron's getting beat up a bit.
Yeah, well, and we've seen this before, right? As we always kind of meme about it. Level 1 Chaos Bolt still can do just an absurd amount of damage, and he will use 300 mana just to kill you, and I feel like it always ends up surprising so many different players.
Yeah, it's the idea of, it's not that the players don't know what Chaos Bolt does, it's that they never expect someone to burn all of their mana to try it, and then all of a sudden you're getting stunned up. But onto Yaren, possible play. Onto Italiano, yeah, probably not so much.
It's a few orders of magnitude harder, and of course, the base stats, 5 armor. He's got the atrophy aura as well, as you will. Yeah. You just want it for the last hitting. It'll never really be an opportunity for them. Maybe once you have the reality rift to throw in, you can do it. And they do hit level 2 here, but then you just sit in your own firestorm, and then it sucks.
Yeah, this isn't doable. This too much damage. They just have to fall back, and that's even with Yaren not involved. He's going for the creep.
Oh, wait, Yaren is.
Wait a minute. Avalanche doesn't have toss, but with the firestorm coming in, I think they've got it. Yes, they do. Wow. Just a bit of a strange one there. The Venge, I guess, didn't have any vision, so they didn't see that that pull was coming, didn't know that the Tiny was sort of coming at that angle until it was too late.
Yeah, and well, they're gaming right now. Even though you've got that wave behind the tower that the Seeker is going to try to deny a number of creeps with, the pole goes off. Yarn's immediately there to take that large camp going, and I feel like honestly, they're doing a pretty fine job here top.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, right? Double-digit last hits for Italiano Gangster already, so can't argue with that lane too much. Meanwhile, mid, Solji is playing a little bit of bully ball here. Last hit-wise, he's ahead. He's got the raises that RCY truly cannot ignore, right? If he gets caught by that combo, that's a pretty sizable chunk of his HP bar that's just gone instantly.
Yeah, it's where all you can do is be smart with your trades, make sure you don't get the range deny underneath you, and then eventually you have quite enough regen that you can just be chill. But yeah, oh my goodness, they're chasing again.
Italiano with no boots is not quite as fast as he would like to be, so
Oh,
the Venge gets away. Meanwhile, oh, Yaren. I thought he was going to get out of there, but he kind of walks back into Paradise, and okay, Belt are able to pick up a kill.
that kind of ended up trapping himself in this just one little nook here on the trees, and does disable the Salve of the Venge, which is pretty nice, but
Boys,
he's a pit lord.
this is not quite doable. They tried it once, it didn't work. They tried again, and hey, guess what? It didn't work.
Oh?
Oh, okay.
Oh, Yarn.
What is that toss? That is just stupidly long range, and well, now it looks even worse, right? You go in, you don't kill Italiano Gangster, and you end up losing your own support.
Yeah, nothing to scoff at. Just got the Soul Ring as well, so now Italiano's got some more mana to work with. Pretty nice stuff on that lane. You know, now I'm looking back bottom. B9 versus Fade. This is the battle of centuries.
Okay, Stonebank walks in, drops a dilation, but not really sure if they can do anything here. There's no spells up, so they're gonna have to back away. At the same time, though, mid Solji gets caught, and RCY gets the kill. So Yaren, well, goes top, finds the kill with the long-range tree toss, goes mid, finds a kill as well, and he can afford to do that because, again, this is an Underlord. He is not just going to get sort of easily killed off. He's just kind of free to hold this lane alone, and DogChamp are starting to get a little bit more active. They don't have a massive kill lead, ET, but you like to see this early activity from the Tiny, no matter what.
No, for sure. And it's such a simple rotation to make. I feel like every time, especially around those power runes and even the bounty runes, if you can make sure that chaos on the map is going down, then you feel pretty good with yourself. As though B9 gets taken out relatively for free. A death he really doesn't mind, though. He was pretty tapped for mana. He was out of pretty much every resource, and now gets to TP back to the lane with the raindrop, so shouldn't really be able to get forced out nearly as easily.
At the same time, you look at Fade. He's not looking too hot in terms of regen. Okay, never mind. Got a flag bearer creep coming in. That's going to help a little bit. No, it's not, because it just goes immediately under the tower, so can't even really stand in the aura. At the same time, top, third time's the charm, maybe? No, still doesn't work. They still just can't kill the Underlord.
You know, it's much too difficult, and again, because the wave is so far forward, the Pit Lord's lane is so far forward, the guy that nukes for every single last hit he can is back to bullying the SF and making sure this bounty rune dies. And he's going for the guaranteed play, but luck is on DogChamp's side. Arcane rune for the Invoker, bounty rune gets claimed. Solji still has a lot of mana and 2 bottle charges, but you're going to start to get spammed out by this Invoker.
Well, the supports will return. Yarn gonna get hit up by the stun. Double stun. Italiano, does he want to do anything? Can he do anything? Kind of. Yeah, he can stand close enough for that toss play to come through, but the tower is hitting on creeps instead of the CK, so bad news is, can't find the kill. Good news is, Yarn just walks through too and doesn't get taken down.
Yeah, it was a nice glyph. It was quite smart. And they go for an attempt mid, but is this just going to be a dead Warden? Doesn't have Tornado. 4 more seconds, then maybe you get that immediate turnaround. But Tiny's here. He's got Ava. Doesn't have the toss, though.
There's going to be the Tornado EMP. Is it enough? Solji. Okay. He's just trying to turn around, but there's the Cold Snap. Okay, he's not going to be able to get the last bit of damage. He's throwing out a raise, though, into the Dispose. Nice. Yeah, he doesn't have enough mana for another raise. And Warden, yeah, Warden needs to pack off everybody needs to back off at this point. No HP between any of these four heroes. And call it a draw. Everybody walks away.
And then bottom, there is not that same walk away. B9 does get taken down here, and he needs like 2 more bashes on Stonebank. Oh, he's gonna get 1 hit off here in a sec. He's just barely.
He does have time walk. Is he gonna be greedy for it? Fade. What?
Pathing low, pathing.
Ooh.
And then back mid.
Okay, Soldier's in trouble. No, he's not. Yaren, if he can't get the toss, actually he has enough for the Ava right now, but they're not gonna dive it. Solji counting his blessings there. He will live, but yeah, that was just weird. I think, as you said, Fade just gets kind of screwed over by the auto pathing. Just walks him back down the ramp, and it's one he wishes he could have back. B9, he had the cookie, but that is a little bit too far to try and go forward on your own.
And watch the fight yet again. It's Soldier in the mid lane. They actually get the punish on the Yarn this time, and Destroyer. Again, there's so little mana. Everybody's getting clipped so consistently, but now super slowed.
Oh no. Oh. Stonebank TP's in, drops the chrono. Oh, Solji dead, Warden dead. Solji actually, yeah, no point in the Requiem. I don't think a Death Requiem would have killed RCY anyway, but you don't even have the chance there as he gets taken down. Meanwhile, B9 alone faces Void, just TP'd mid, and they know it, so Felt will kind of trade it out a little bit, but getting 2 heroes caught in a chrono mid and taken down is not really a fair trade, and now Paradise may end up falling up top. Do they have the means to catch him? Well, that's not really catching, but it's not going to matter. It's damage, and it works.
You know, pretty nice kill, and the Shadow Fiend just TP'd from well. Wasn't able to do anything. Now has to make that long trek back mid. Looks like he's even going to get a bounty rune denied in his face if the Invoker chooses to do so, and okay. Nice double raise.
Okay, he's going to be able to hold that, but yeah, bottom lane, there's a fight going down. Venge hit up. That TP does not complete, but I don't think it'll matter. B9 still gets the stun. Stonebank is forward, but he just time-walked for it, so Fade says, give me that kill. That is a very worthwhile trade, and it actually might just be a straight 2-for-1. Crypt Swarm's up. He's got 3 points in it. Nice wand pop. May not be enough, though. Fade is still chasing. In it to the trees. Can B9 get around him? Yes, he can. Ooh, Crypt Swarm misses. So B9 will live at the same time. Solji does find a kill in the north side jungle as the fights are just breaking out everywhere. RCY was able to trade, but now he's in trouble. Pulled in by Paradise, but look at the root coming out from Italiano Gangster. They're trying to hold. RCY looking to create separation. He's going to go invis now. He gets immediately dusted, though, and they should still be able to finish him off, or maybe not. The disarm onto Paradise meant he couldn't actually get the hit in. Now the tornado throws him up in the air. RCY gets a kill. He is finally going to be taken down, but my god, did he make them work for it.
Yep, very difficult for that kill, and of course getting the Invoker, not bad in the slide. It's funny, all of these kills are just behind tier 1s. It's fighting up completely away from the waves. Nobody really cares about the CS right now, but at the same time, whatever works, works. And I think just unfortunately staying around a little bit too long on the Invoker. Invoker, who honestly doesn't even have that many last hits. It's where you are going to start getting out-farmed by the SF if you do make your rotations, and you want to keep on hitting here, but it's also difficult because you could just stay in lane and then just keep on Tornado EMPing the SF, who will also start to just farm and out-farm you. But that's where top lane, we are getting the map blown open just a little bit. Just for the cart timing, time to get this game started. Might even get a smoke, I think, or rather should be getting a smoke pretty soon here. You've got Snapfire Kisses, you've got the Chrono yet again, and actually the play's coming to them.
It's not the hero that they want, though. I mean, they'll take it because they don't have much of a choice. Yaren, okay. They will take him down. B9 just went for the kisses, though. Where's the Chrono? There's the Chrono. Connecting onto 3. That's not the right order, but who gives a damn? They hit everyone that they wanted. And the Warden, he tried. He tried to get away, but okay. B9 says, listen, man, you're going to Chrono where I tell you to at this point, as he leads in first, but it all works out in the end.
Yeah, and that was Felt Smoke. They were the aggressor there, and with your teammates all being dead across the map, now Fade pushing this solo mid-tower feels a little bit weird, and now the defenders are back. No, it feels like a pretty big waste. Still got maybe 500 damage onto the tower, but a pretty big time commitment for your Death Prophet, who now doesn't have a job anymore. You have to kind of just idly sit by, but idly sitting by, it's the name of the Faceless Void. It's where the Midas is done. The Javelin, I think, is coming out as well. Snowbank's timings are, yet again, insane.
Just keeps on pushing forward. There's never a moment where he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not always doing maybe what he wants, but he adjusts so quickly, so like, fluidly, I guess we'd say, right? That transition period really is never too long as... Uh-oh, Fade? He has been caught here. He's pretty fast, though, and the Sunstrike... Oh, man, the Sunstrike still hits. It's just not enough damage. Only 2 points up in the Exort, so... Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 more levels, I think that's a snipe out. But as it stands, that's still pushing Fade back.
Yeah, it's like 90 HP on the DP, but... Oh, Armwhat's done on Paradise. He wants to make this fight happen, but there's the tornado immediately into the pit. He saved it.
Into the root. Did he just... I think he tried to dodge with the Phantasm. Not sure if it actually worked, but he's still stuck in this fight. The Cookie actually gets Yarn away, and now Paradise is going to get punished for trying to go in for that kill, but a timely TP in from the Vengeful Spirit, but there's going to be the kisses. He didn't really get enough separation. Paradise will fall. Fade now TPing in. This fight is looking very strange. They need a kill. Just take down someone. Fade is trying to run after Yarn and will get it with the Crypt Swarm. But now he has to deal with the consequences. He is still around. Meanwhile, they'll lose Solji mid as they realize everyone else is hanging out bot. So, you know, we might as well go in for the 2-for-1. And now Italiano Gangster turns. Gets the root, gets the Firestorm. And Fade, this is just... It's so broken for them. I mean, maybe they get another kill. Yeah, Fade makes that happen, but this is a very awkward fight. And okay, Fade's just gonna pop Exorcism. I don't know what I'm watching anymore. Italiano Gangster TP's away. RCY just leaves. And I think the most telling thing about this whole fight, ET, all of that goes down. And maybe if you're happy with some kills for Fade, but that is a fight that Stonebank did not care about in the slightest.
Yeah, that was all time where Chrono was cooling up. We didn't really want to make any overcommitment. I think the only reason that Italiano Gangster stays with his captain there for so long is just because B9 didn't have his TP. So the Snapfire was always dead to rights. Really, Italiano could have TP'd out a number of times during that entire engagement. And they do get to turn that Exorcism into the mid-tier 1, something you can never scoff at, but... I am just very, very worried still about this Faceless Void. Pretty much the exact same timings in the previous game as he is now incredibly farmed. Yarn, though, does get taken down just farming with his Blink Dagger bottom. Will slow that Blink Dagger even further, even though his timing is also not looking too bad.
Yeah, all things considered, progress is looking okay for him. Not the fastest in the world, but you don't need to be. Especially if his teammates can find Solji. Destroyer just popped. Or CY, rather, excuse me. Oh, Solji, he stops to farm the camp, and that might just end up killing him off here. They get down multiple stuns into that Tornado EMP. Technically, it was EMP into Tornado, but doesn't matter. Job's done. They find the kill. Italiano Gangster, though, caught in the river, and they'll trade that one out. Solji for Italiano. They're pushing forward. They want more. They get the dust preemptively, but look at Stonebank. There's the Chrono connecting onto 2. They don't have the kisses, but they do have a Meteor coming through. Paradise will fall. The Warden is dead as well. Little too much. Take the kill into Italiano Gangster and fall back, and that's a fantastic trade. Instead, they get a little greedy. They forget about the Faceless Void, and ET, honestly, I'm not sure how you forget about the Faceless Void, but that's what happened.
And Stonebank just... He's working really just off the clock every single time he wants to make a play. It just walks into his hands. And again, this was all time where DogChamp were a unit away from the hero that needed to farm. So now that Blink Dagger is done. Now the time he's going to trade his spot. He's going to start to get much more active. And that's where you look across the board for Felt. Where are the BKBs? When is SF going to get his item? And that's where SF has just been kicked down the road. In terms of his net worth, the DP and the CK have just gotten priority. It just means that you're not going to have that insane timing that you're used to seeing. The Death Prophet is much more further along when it comes to hers, but that just does not feel right.
I think the Warden's just going to sort of eat this gank. Yeah. There's a bit of a trade going on, though. Over in mid, you see B9 getting hit up and taken down, so... 1-for-1 trade on the supports. The alarm is sounded, so Solji is able to sort of fall back, and I mean, you take that. Support for support. That was a smoke used by DogChamp to relatively little effect, so you've bought some time. The problem is, every time we talk about buying time for Felt, it's buying time for Stonebank, right? 55 seconds on the chrono cooldown, so if you're buying time, you need to be doing so from a position where you are clearly ahead of your opponents. That's just not happening right now as Yaren, he's been caught. Should go down here, but just feels like Felt need to be finding either bigger targets or bigger objectives.
Yeah, and that's where with level 2 EXO, of course, now Felt are the ones that want to make that play towards the pit. It's a little bit more difficult on Dire. I feel like that's where you need to get a pick into it, and then you can very confidently force down that Roche, but until then, there really isn't anything else to do, and unfortunately, that's where that BKB timing on the SF is kind of ruining the rest of the lineup. You want to get active, you want to make this forcing move, but instead, you really can't afford to bring him towards that team fight. And just got the Void. What a stroke of luck.
Oh, man. Okay. He's not dead yet, though. He's actually time walking onto the low ground. He's going to turn around. There's the Chronosphere. It does connect onto Fade. RCY coming in with the damage. The Meteor comes in. Italiano Gangster goes for the root, but the swap is going to be there. So Fade is out. That is almost certainly the death of the Venge, though, as they will lose both of their supports. And Paradise just popped Phantasm, but I don't know how helpful it's going to be. Mortimer Kisses flying through. Paradise in trouble. Buyback coming in from the Warden. Meanwhile, Solji channeling the Requiem on the high ground. The Fear pushes Italiano Gangster back. The problem is they still lost Paradise. And this is starting to get a little bit rough. Fade, yeah, you don't want to keep chasing. He has no backup any longer, so they've got to pull it back, but it's just too costly a play. Their supports die, they use a buyback, they lose the CK, and you don't get any cores the other way. It's just Yarn and B9 who fall.
Yeah, no, it ends up being a pretty hollow victory, and that's your exorcism. That's, you know, the play that you get going for you. It's a few kills, and again, more money into your Death Prophet's pocket. You get Fade as BKB, but I just hope they really hit this next timing on the Felt side of things. I also kind of wish that they, even though they need to respond with the Chrono and actually mid. Okay, nice swap. There you go. They're going to take the Venge back and probably should get taken down here, but look at the supports.
Yaren's just getting shoved around this fight as he's pulled back by the Reality Rift, but they haven't killed him in Paradise. That's too far forward. That's way too far forward. And he is punished for it, and now Solji may not even be getting out. Do they just dive the tier 1? No, they will take the tier 1. There's a move speed bonus coming in there from the rebound and the sidekick. That does get Solji away, but Paradise, I mean, does he have... No, he doesn't have a BKB. He had only just started progress towards it, so not entirely sure why he felt that confident pushing forward, but now we have a problem as the DP is getting hit up. Wow, I just froze for a second, but there we go, back into it. DAP trying to get away, but the BKB wears off. Can actually finish him off, though. The Firestorm's still doing some work, and yes, they do get the kill. RCY, though, dropping low. The Warden, though, doesn't have the damage to do it himself. They need Solji to come in. Needs to be able to get maybe one more raise or right-click, and they will find it. It's going to come at a cost, though. The Warden is dropping, but the Italiano Gangster actually can't finish him off. The stun comes through. Those Mortimer Kisses are not... No, just straight up no. Didn't have the range, didn't have the accuracy, so... Well, okay, that goes better for Felt than I think it had any right to from the initial looks of it, ET, but they pull one out.
Yeah, no, a very successful win, and you get the Invoker's streak. Pretty nice. And now you kind of need to get Stonebank involved here, and of course, still fabulously farmed, still ahead of every other core in the game, but that's where it's becoming more and more of a necessity for him to actually show up, and when he shows up, well, that's your BKB finish on the SF. Now you can be a little bit more confident. I feel like he almost wants to get a Blink Dagger now, just so that way he can have a tool to play against when it comes for that Chrono, but that's also where I think Stonebank needs to make sure that he finds this Venge. He can't just let the team fight get blown wide open by a single swap. That's what kind of happened last time around. Of course, now he has a BKB, so he can also just be in the fight a lot longer than he was before. Doesn't need to worry about that Death Prophet silence nearly as much, but that's also where both sides are gunning for picks. Any pick is just going to mean that Roche is the next objective. Again, a lot easier for Felt than it is for DogChamp, but that's where it is just that much easier for DogChamp to also make the picks happen. Much more dynamic lineup.
Stonebank with the reverse time walk, just doing a little bit of scouting.
Oh.
Nope. Okay. Sunstrike doesn't connect. BKB forced out, though, and, well, now if you're Felt, maybe you're a little bit less confident, right? That's BKB on cooldown for over a minute, and look at the immediate push into the Roche pit. They know, without that BKB, Solji is not going to feel confident. We can maybe sneak this. It's still not the fastest attempt in the world, so there might be a chance as Yaren gets the Ava, gets the toss. They completely ambush that Venge, and, well, now their chances of getting into the pit sort of reduce significantly.
Yeah, just, again, kind of RCY just gaming on you, right? Gets the BKB forced, almost kills the SF. If that Sunstrike landed, that would have been just a real big smack in the face, but yeah, free Roche. And very smart as well. They know that somebody has to come check it at the very least, unless Felt 100% just want to concede it. They didn't even know what was going on until after that. It was just the idea, but there's the punish. Now you got an Aegis on Stonebank as well, and the Void just keeps on being a faceless Void. And I do wonder, I'm kind of looking at the progression for the rest of the lineup. A lot of it makes sense. Invoker's actually going for the Ags as well, which is pretty interesting. A lot of Invokers actually just decide to skip it and either focus on BKB or what feels like Hex, just because that 20 talent really has become more of the hero than the Ags ever was. But I guess you do just have a Chronosphere to play around. Why not, right?
Right. You got Chrono, you got Avalanche, you got the Roots, and all this lockdown, so see what you can get, right? If nothing else, you force Felt to move to avoid the Cataclysm, so got that advantage going for you. As the Venge, that's not a fun time. Caught out, taken down, and at this point, it feels like he might just have to give up on trying to get vision in his own sort of north side jungle here, because DogChamp just aren't relinquishing that control.
No, they just keep on playing in this area, and even though very quickly Felt decide to push out the other two lanes, we are going to get to this point where someone has to say something to Stonebank. You kind of have to do anything to make him get out of here. And during this time as well, it's the Gang Squad. They're looking, and they have BKB TP, but does he go for it? There we go. Gets the suck off. Should be fine, but again, that's another BKB forced, and now this tier 2 mid is probably no longer defendable.
BKB forced, TP used, completely out of the equation. Well, maybe not completely. He can just walk if he wants to, but can he be that teamfight anchor? If he pops an Exo, he has no magic immunity. I guess he could put together the Aeon Disc at the last second, so that makes him a little bit more sustainable, but I don't know if that's enough for you to feel comfortable taking a fight into a Chrono and an Aegis. And, honestly, a BKB for Stonebank as well, so it just doesn't feel doable, and they're not even trying. They're just going to let the tower go.
Yeah, and that's a fight that they probably would have felt a little bit more comfortable taking, but it's just because of that BKB and not wanting to get that Aeon Disc pop, I think, just yet on the Death Prophet. He's sitting there with the locked components. I think DogChamp do need to scout it out, just make sure they don't waste a Chronosphere on a single target, but again, I think Stonebank is going to change the way he plays this Void. You really cannot afford to just go for single cores unless you know that swap has already been used. Otherwise, just let the rest of the lineup carry you, because if Yaren's still finding those tossbacks, you don't need to be the one to start the fight. Even though with the Void showing bottom, Felt justifiably are kicking them out just a little bit from this jungle, but they do have to be careful about overextending, and they made the gate.
That's a problem. Solji's in trouble. He's going to get rooted up. BKB comes out, but he's bashed first. Stonebank's got him. Meanwhile, to the north, they've caught the Warden as well. Second pick into a potential high ground push. There's the creep wave coming up. They've got some Forge Spirits too, so this is getting rough, and they might have just caught bait. He didn't pop his BKB. The swap is there, though. Defensive play coming through. But at this point, look at Stonebank. Pushes forward, gets one kill, drops a Chrono in the other. There's going to be your Cataclysm. That forces out the Aeon Disc, but he's still dead. I'm not sure he makes it back to his own fountain in time as Stonebank gets the bash, gets the kill. And this one's blown wide open, ET. DogChamp don't even lose any heroes, and look at Paradise. That's okay. That is a Phantasm. He has used it, but to what effect, really?
And okay, the Glyph will at least something for them to play for in this game, but with the Aegis, I feel like this should be a second Rax here. 25 seconds on the Death Prophet. Without a Blink Dagger, they have to go for the smoke in the nighttime, and oh no!
This is not good for them. Oh, hold on. Paradise is doing a nice bit of damage, but that BKB is going to wear off. He needs to be careful. Stonebank, meanwhile, with Alacrity on him, pushed forward. Got the kill onto the Vengeful Spirit. Now he wants Paradise. Can they keep him alive? The CK cannot afford to die here. There's going to be the disarm coming in from that Deafening Blast, but it's just... Well, it's a trade right now, honestly. They do finally get Paradise, but it does cost them 1 or 2 heroes, but at this point, if you're Felt, you need more. They are chasing. Can they catch? Stun in onto the snap. B9, okay, he's going to get swapped back into the fight. He is still creating quite a distraction, though, trying to TP out now as well. He's not going to make it, but that may have bought enough time for the rest of the lineup to get away.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of a mistake from Yarn there. Went a little too ham, try to get the toss back on the SF because they knew that he didn't have BKB. They could have just, again, probably killed him before the SF could have reacted at all, but then they lose Aegis, and then they're overextended, and then they don't have BKB on the Pit Lord either just yet, so definitely a little bit of a throw, but again, a throw in which they also killed the CK, they get their carry out of the farming rotation, and then the rest of the lineup goes back to farming on their own side. I think that's a Satanic that our boy Stonebank just picked up as well, so good luck killing him.
It's really just this camp to be finished off, and then he's got it, so feeling pretty good. Got a Titan Sliver as well, okay. He just picked up like 5 neutral items, farming up that triangle in the past minute, so just about all of those picked up for DogChamp, and yeah, how do you deal with this Faceless Void now? It's been so hard to bring him down. They've really only done it the once. The other couple of times he's had Aegis, so he just doesn't really care, but... Oh. Okay. Aggressive move from Stonebank. He is going to get stunned up, but he does have the Chrono, and there it is, deployed onto 2. Mortimer Kisses coming in as well. The defensive swap is there, but there's the Cataclysm doing some damage. The Warden's going to get taken down first. Solji, though, with the BKB, he's still trying to fight. Paradise is doing the same, and... Well, can they get anyone? Yarn's just dancing through the tree line, and now that the BKB is worn off, they are going to turn and fight. Meteors coming through, all 3 of them hitting onto heroes. Solji might just tick down. Not just yet, but okay. That certainly makes it easier. Stonebank time walks in, gets the last hit, and... Well... There was a brief moment, ET, where maybe you were thinking this might be doable, right? They didn't lose everyone in the Chronosphere, but no. It just gets shut down immediately afterwards. RCY is now a threat unto himself, and... Felt can't stand up against it.
Yeah, and even though it looks a little bit awkward to just see Stonebank immediately go for... Oh, the Chrono onto the DP.
What the? There we go.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Never mind. I was going to say not dead yet, but he immediately goes down once he lands, and... I don't know... I don't know if they can end right now. They can't take the bottom lane of Rax. There's still 2 towers in that lane, so... They shift their focus onto tier 4s, but ET heroes are coming back up, so... Belt are going to have one last chance, but... How much can they do? They don't have DP, they don't have Requiem. Yarn just gets in right at the start of the fight and breaks up 2 or 3, and... Well, both of the supports are already dead. Stonebank pops his BKB. They're going to try and track down Solji, bashing him to hell. BKB's available, but by the time he pops it, it just doesn't matter. The physical damage finishes him off. Timely bash now onto the CK is going to put Paradise in some trouble, but they just feel like they have to fight. They have to try and do something. It's desperation time. They'll take down B9, but it's just not enough. There it is. The GG called. DogChamp with the 2-0. Felt still just can't get anything against this opponent.
Yeah, game just ends up being too difficult. They let Stonebank do the thing again. The Faceless Void farms. I hope for our next matchup we get to see maybe a little bit more care put into what this hero can and shouldn't be allowed to do. I think the Death Prophet is one of your best bets on the Felt side of thing, but then things just kind of fell apart so quickly. And then with the rotations in from the Tiny, they picked an unlosable carry versus CK. They do get counterpicked, and of course, DogChamp having second pick in the second game of the series is always a little bit unfortunate. Does kind of prove that they probably have the hammer into make that just a 2-0, but still not pretty. I think Felt's not too upset. I mean, they got to play Dota at least a little bit. I think game 1 definitely felt a little bit more close, but yeah, here nothing. It felt like they just got counterpicked. They got outplayed. The only thing really going well for them was that Death Prophet's lane and the Death Prophet's game, but because it was going so well, the Solji's really wasn't, where DogChamp didn't have that problem. All of the cores, again, just doing incredible, and RCY needs 5 or 6 respect bans, I think. This guy's really starting to prove himself. You already have to ban Tinker for him for free, but man, oh man, he is really starting to come into his own on DogChamp.
Yeah, looking pretty damn good in this game and in general. So, yeah, teams got to focus on him. The problem was, or problem still is, teams thought they had figured this out, right? We're playing against DogChamp, so we have to focus on Stonebank's hero pool, and then they're no threat. And then they bring in RCY in the middle lane, and all of a sudden, no, just not even true. If you focus on Stonebank, RCY burns you. If you focus on RCY, then Stonebank gets to play Faceless Void 2 games in a row and do Faceless Void things to you. So the fact that they have two star players, someone will probably argue against using that terminology, but that's what it feels like. Two guys that the rest of the lineup really just revolves around.
Yeah, and we'll have to see because DogChamp, they're a team that when things click, look fantastic. Looks like they're picking up a lot of speed, but sometimes they do get fatigued. It does feel like the consistent top play doesn't always come out from them. It's where I hope maybe some of that young blood, especially coming in from Italiano, keeps them more consistent as the tournament progresses. But tonight, they're massive winners.
They get the 2-0 sweep, and you're feeling pretty good. Meanwhile, if you're felt, obviously, it's going to hurt a little bit, right? You once again lose a series to DogChamp, who are becoming that sort of obstacle in your path over and over again, but this is still just their first series. This was the first time we got to see them. There is a hell of a lot of time left in the schedule for them, so regroup, hit your stride later on down the road, and put this one out of your mind. Because they at least put up a decent fight, right? They lose, but they didn't get blown out in both.
Yeah, for sure. And you can't be too upset. I think first game, I don't even want to say first game jitters because these teams they play against each other all the time. But that's where for our next game, Cut versus Five Man Midas, NA versus NA to round off our series today. I'm looking forward to that game.
Is going to be a pretty good one in terms of the matchup. Before we get to that, though, you have one other thing to address here. As we pop the screen on over. We had the ad read last time around. Now it's time to talk to you about a little bit of a giveaway here. You just heard about that Armada 25 FHD monitor from HyperX. Well, if you don't feel like buying one, we're giving one away to somebody, some lucky entrant in the chat here. As you can see on your screen, you can go to bts.gg/Pro Series giveaway for your chance to win that Armada 25 FHD monitor and some cool BTS branded merchandise. I don't think those are the same ones we had last time around. These ones are new and improved, let's say. So if you want a monitor and or some BTS merchandise, then you can head on over to that address on your screen right now. Enter. Pretty damn sure you just enter for free. So you really have no reason not to unless you just hate getting free stuff, which if that's the case, then you do you, man. But if I had a chance at free stuff, I'd take it.
Yeah, free is free.
So yeah, there you go. Once again, blah, 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 blah. Let's try that sentence over. Once again, that's bts.gg/Pro Series giveaway. Enter for your chance to win. We'll be back with the start of our final series of the day in just a little bit.